In this video, I'm going to teach you how to remove broken bolts. We're gonna do a variation of different things. This video is going to be centered around doing it with a chisel, left-handed drill bit, and then some easy outs, a couple of different styles of easy outs. In the next video, I'm going to go over how to weld a nut to a bolt that is stuck to get it out. That's kind of like the final last bit resort, okay? How it would go is you're going to start by trying to get those bolts out with a chisel. You're then going to try to drill it out with a left-handed drill bit. If that doesn't get it out, then you're going to use the easy outs in that hole that you've just drilled. And then if that doesn't work, you're going to progress to welding a nut to that and using an actual socket to get it off. Some of the things you're going to need, you're going to need a bolt block. It's probably not going to be the bolt block that you have put your bolts into, which is good and bad because you don't know how good of a job the person did before you or how bad of a job they did before you. You're going to need a set of easy outs. I've got two different styles here that I will be using. One comes with a nice set of left-handed drill bits, and then I just have this set of easy outs. And so these should be readily available to you. I also have a chisel, a center punch this is for when we actually go to drill the holes, and just a hammer. I personally, for this one, would probably start with a smaller hammer, about around this size. If you want, you can use a bigger hammer. It's totally up to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my part or my bolt block in a vise, and then I'm just going to go through how to get these off. You don't have to use a vise. You can use a C-clamp to a table. You don't even have to attach it if you don't want to. But I would highly recommend you put this in something that is rigid. That way, as you're working with it, it doesn't want to flex or bend around. To begin with, the chisel, what we're going to start with, we're going to try to take that chisel and just get that bolt to spin. We're going to try to clip the edge of it to get it to start spinning, all right? So let's go ahead and let's zoom in and let's get started. All right, like I said, this is a progression type project. You're going to start by using the chisel. If the chisel doesn't get the bolt out, then you're going to move on to the next thing, So what I would recommend is that you try to get them all out with the chisel first, and then I would recommend you try to get them all out with the easy outs. And then if you can't get them out, then we are going to go ahead and move on to welding. The reason I'm hesitant to get into the welding is because you guys haven't gone through the welding class yet. After you've done the welding class, if you want to, we can redo this, and it would give you a great idea of how you can do it later on. So what you're going to do, we're going to take our chisel, and you can take it sideways or flat. I probably, with how much of a shank we have coming out of here, I would take it to the side, and we're just going to start trying to a lot of times it will chip away. If you're having that problem, that's okay. You can get as much off as you'd like, but just be ready to move on to the next level. So I'm going to try to go ahead and do these other two, and then we'll go ahead and move on. So it looks like this one's going to spin out. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to keep working it all the way around and just kind of keep spinning that chisel until this thing's totally worked out. At this point, we could grab just a pair of pliers and go ahead and work those the rest of the way out, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get this removed, and then we're going to move on to using that easy out because these ones were obviously not moving. Now keep a hold of these little plugs, because what could happen is if we do need to weld or something to another bolt, we would put these back in. That way no spatter, nothing gets into the bolt hole next to it. Just save you time, because if you were out and you were actually working, and here too, you would actually have to go back in and re-fix those threads. So just save yourself time by doing that one extra step. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lightly tap the top of these. That way we can create a flat spot. It might also be smart to grind that if necessary, just to get it nice and smooth. Then we're going to take our center punch, and we're going to try to line it up as close to the center as we possibly can. We're going to center punch both of these. A nice center punch. Sometimes just the shock of the center punch will actually loosen up some bolts, so keep that in mind. It might be a good thing to know too. Now with the left-handed drill bit, as you're drilling, sometimes that left-handed drill bit will catch and it'll just cause that bolt to start spinning and pull right out. So let me grab the drill and we'll go ahead and we'll drill these out. All right, so now I got all my tools together to go ahead and start working with the easy outs. Now this is a little bit hard to see. If you have your pack of easy outs, you can actually see that it'll tell you what size the shank is that you're working with right here, so that you know what size of extractor to use and what size to drill it out to. All right, so that makes it really simple. If you open up our other set here, you'll see that you have you'll have them together. So we have our number 1 extractor and our 3/32 drill bit are right next to each other. So we would use we'd use them together. Okay. The same goes for the number 2, and then our number 3 right here, and our number 4, and our number 5. All right. Now the hardest part is actually figuring out what size extractor to use with which type of bolts. Now, I know that this one right here is a 1/4 inch bolt or a 1/4 inch drill bit. So if I don't have a chart like listed on our other one over here, I'm going to go ahead and think, well, I'm drilling out a 3/8 drill bit or 3/8 stud. So I probably don't want to do a 1/4 because that's really close to the same size. I probably will want to try this 3/16. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this 3/16 to get out our smallest size here, or I'm going to use a number 3. All right, so let's go through that process. One thing to know is that if you try to get this out with one size and it keeps slipping, you can possibly jump up to the next size up and give that a shot too. Okay, make sure that this is a left-handed drill bit, so make sure that you are spinning it the correct direction. Next thing, remember, bolts are hard. They're very hard to extract, or to drill. So make sure you're putting a lot of oil on these, all right, as you go along. All right, so now that we got it about 3/4 of an inch deep, maybe a little bit more, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start test fitting our easy out and see if, okay. Make sure the tip's not bottoming out, it's bottoming out up here on these threads, or these knurls, what we'll call them. Now, I kind of lied to you guys. I said I didn't tell you we were going to need these, but we're going to need a set of tap sockets, or you can use a tap handle. I probably would recommend tap sockets, and a ratchet, depending on what size ratchet is needed. So we're just going to figure out which one fits. Now we're just going to add a little bit of downward pressure onto that ratchet and start trying to screw this thing out. Perfect. See how that works? Nice and easy. Comes right out. See? Now the hardest part will be actually just getting this back off. Take a pair of pliers and just kind of go the opposite direction. It'll come off. Make sure you put all these tools back away correctly, all right? Now, what I'm going to do is in the next video, I'm actually going to remove this bolt with by welding it, or welding a nut onto it. So these are the main ways. Try to get it off first with that chisel. Try to use that left-hand drill bit. Sometimes that left-hand drill bit will catch, and it'll actually just the torque of the drill bit will cause that bolt to spin out and come out. So, like I said, join me on the next one where we go ahead and get this last one out. If you can get them all out with the chisel, that's awesome. If you can get them all out with the easy out, that's awesome. If we do have to take it to the next level and use that welder, there's nothing wrong with that. So go ahead and continue on. Let me know if I can help in any way.